So in this particular video, we're going to talk about understanding how to set up this system. The first thing you need to figure out though is what type of lead that you want to attract, whether that's going to be a prospect or customer-based lead. Remember, prospect leads are basically leads that fill out a form and they get something for free. So they haven't actually purchased an item or anything like that. A customer lead, however, is somebody who has purchased a product previously. So sometimes customer leads, you can charge the business a little more money because these are people who purchased. These are not people who are prospectives and are freebie seekers. These are people who actually took out their wallet, credit card, or cash and purchased something related to that business. So remember, prospect lead fills out a form, and the customer-based leads buy a product, or you can use a method of free CDs. Free CDs allow you to test whether or not a prospect will actually become a buyer or not. Because think about it, they get a free CD, but they still have to pay for the shipping. So to that customer, they're getting a free CD, but they still have to pay shipping, which can be $2.99 to $9. Now you're not making any money from that customer. You might make a few bucks here and there. Most likely you're not going to make that much. But it's your test to test whether or not that prospect will become a customer. Now customer leads convert a lot more because if they purchase something similar in that niche, let's say for example golf, they purchase golf balls or something like a golf report, then when you approach an actual business, you can say this person actually purchased a report or a golf ball. So to them, that's a lot better because they are seen as an actual customer. And you sell back to that customer related items, golf course memberships, maybe a discount or something like that, then they're more likely to purchase something related to golf. So once you have figured out whether it's prospect lead or customer leads, you can't do both at the same time. Again, remember, you can only choose one, free or paid, prospect or customer. So pick one of those two. Then you can develop your squeeze page. Now you are going to need some tools. As I mentioned earlier, you have a WYSIWYG editor, Dreamweaver or NVU, an autoresponder. We're going to use Aweber, web hosting and a domain name, so you need a website, a payment processor, which is optional if you choose to produce customer-based leads, and Kunaki if you do decide to use the free CD method of getting customer-based leads. Kunaki, if you don't know, is a service that develops CDs for you. And I'll show you just in a minute what that looks like. Alright, I just want to do a quick run through here. The first thing you need is a WYSIWYG tool, which is basically what you see is what you get, and that all that means is just an HTML editor. Some sort of editor that can edit and create web pages. The first thing I would recommend is probably Dreamweaver if you can afford that, Adobe Dreamweaver. And you can get there by going to adobe.com/products/Dreamweaver. Now, if you can't dish out some money to get Dreamweaver, there's another WYSIWYG HTML editor tool. And if you go to google.com and you type in NVU download, it'll forward you to net2.com. And I'll go to that page right now so you can see it. It's a free web editing system. And all you have to do is download it. Nice thing about NVU is it works on Microsoft Windows. It can work on Apple, Macs, Linux, and other systems. Some of you are familiar with a program called Composer or Composer. Starts with a K. It's the same thing as NVU. So if you have that, that's fine. If you have Dreamweaver, you don't need NVU. This is just in case you don't have anything. And if you're afraid that, editing HTML pages is going to be a hard thing, don't worry about that because NVU If you're used to editing, doing things like word processor with Microsoft Word, this should be quite similar. So you need a WYSIWYG tool and you need an autoresponder tool. We're going to use Aweber, which you can find at aweber.com. And this is what Aweber looks like. It allows you to build a list. But for the sake of generating leads, in this case, we are going to simply use that for that purpose. So I would highly recommend that you purchase if you don't already have it, and then you can go ahead and sign in. And if you want to look at pricing, you can, but I would just start out with the basics and then move up. And this is what Aweber looks on the inside. Then you're going to need a web hosting and domain registrar. So first of all, if you don't have a domain name, a www. Whatever your domain is.com, then you need to go buy a domain name, which you can find at namecheap.com. I'd highly recommend Namecheap. I've been with them for many years, since before 2005, or actually around 2005, 2006 time. In addition to a domain name, you're going to need web hosting. If you host many sites, then I would highly recommend a place called serveint.com. I would say they have the best, and I've been through many web hosts. I've been through well over 40, 50 since 2006, because a lot of them go down and they don't have good service. And this one's a virtual private server. It's only $49 a month, which is not bad considering you get a lot of space, and they don't oversell, which means that your website will be up and running, it'll be fast, and it won't crash because somebody else crashed it. Now, if you want to go cheaper, HostGator.com is another avenue you can take. The only downside with HostGator is if somebody crashes the server, you have no control over it and your website goes down. That's why I highly recommend Servant.com versus HostGator, because if you're paying 30 cents, 40 cents, or $1 to get a lead, then you can't afford your website going down. So that's web hosting right there. As far as a payment processor goes, if you build a customer base leads, then you're going to need a payment processor, which I recommend you using PayPal, because it's the easiest to get up and running with. Then we have Kunaki, which is a CD/DVD manufacturer. All you have to do is with Kunaki is upload your files, and every time somebody gets a free DVD, all you have to do is upload their information and then click send, and then they charge you not a lot of money. As you can see, they don't charge you a lot. So I'd highly recommend that you look into those sites. Now you've seen all the tools and what you need to have and what is optional. What needs to be set up? Well, there are two routes. If you take the prospective lead and you set up a lead capture page for the prospect, then this is what is going to happen. You're going to have a traffic source, whether you use AdWords, Craigslist, or eBay, or if you use any of them. You're going to have that traffic source, and it's going to be driven, or you're going to point that traffic to a lead capture page. And then you're going to point them to an autoresponder. Because remember, prospects' leads are actually the easiest to set up for in relation to lead capture pages, because all you need to do is set up the lead capture page and put your headline, put up your sales copy, and then put a button or a form at the bottom where people can grab, whether it's a free report, whether it's a free video, relating to golf or something like that. That's what we're dealing with when in relation to prospect leads. Now, when it comes to customer-based leads, it's a little different. You do have your traffic source, AdWords, Craigslist, or eBay, and that drives to a lead capture page. The only difference between prospect leads and customer-based leads is this. When they land onto your lead capture page, they will actually see a product. They're not seeing a report for free. They're seeing something that they have to buy. Now, you always want to start low, somewhere from $7 to something free. But if it's free, then like a free CD, you have to test whether they're going to buy. And that's why you charge them for shipping. And that's the way you test whether or not they are going to buy something. So they land on the lead capture page. They have a sales copy that presents them with an offer. They can buy their product, which leads them to a payment processor. In this case, we're dealing with PayPal. And an autoresponder. After the product, after they pay, they're sent to an autoresponder where they fill out their information. And that can lead them to the download page, to Kanaki, which of course Kanaki is you. You would get their information, like their address and all that stuff. And then you would create an Excel sheet, upload it to Kanaki. They wouldn't actually see Kanaki, only you would see Kanaki. And you'd fill all that information out and they would be sent the free CD. Now, you might want to look at the policy if you have a refund policy or whatever. But because it's a free CD and they're paying for shipping, it's not really anything you can refund. So you might want to put that note on the bottom of your page just to make sure. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started here and set up the lead capture page. In this setup, I'm just going to focus on the prospect lead. If you want to go into setting up a customer lead, that's fine. Just keep in mind the two options is that it needs to be presented with sales copy. At the bottom, you have a Buy It Now button, which leads to PayPal, where they buy. And when you're setting up your PayPal button, the one thing is that PayPal is going to ask you for a thank you page. Your thank you page is basically going to be your autoresponder. And then your autoresponder is going to, direct people to a download page. But just keep that in mind. That's the big difference between the prospect lead and a customer-based leads. So with that said, let's go ahead and set up our lead capture page. All right, so right now you have to have two things open. You need to open the autoresponder, which we have open right here at Aweber. So if you don't have an Aweber account, I'd highly recommend that you get one so you can start building your list. And then, of course, we need to set up the lead capture page. So what I'm going to do is go to my computer. And what I need to do is basically just create an index.html file. So that's my lead capture page. So I'm going to find a folder here. Let's say we'll put new folder lead capture page. Okay, so what I need to do is right click. If you right click in the white space, click on new and then click on text document. And I'm just going to erase everything in there. I'm going to call it index.html. So that's index.html. Press that enter. Click on yes, and there we go. What I'm going to do is right click on here, open with NVU, and you can go to NVU and do the same thing and reverse it by creating an index.html page. But you just need to make sure that it is index.html. So open with NVU, and this is what NVU looks like. So right now it's just a blank page, and what your goal needs to be is to create a lead capture page. The first thing I want you to do is at the top, click on Insert Table, and just create one cell. Within that cell, I want you to click inside it, and then right click inside that cell or that table, click on Table Cell Properties, click on Table, and then as far as width goes, we want it to be around 600. We're from 650 to 700, so I'm going to put 650. And as you can see behind the scenes, it's creating the table. And I'm going to put the border as 0, spacing 10, and padding 10. And you'll see what that does. So now you can see that you don't see the border, which looks a little more professional. I want the table to be centered, so I'm going to click on center, then change the background color to white, press OK, click on apply, and there we go. So if you want to increase the width, you can set it to 700. As you saw, that gets bigger. Go ahead and press OK, and our lead capture page is going to be within this box. You can change the background if you want to. You just got to click on Format, Page Colors and Backgrounds, use custom colors, and then change the background, to something like this. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on this as far as sales copy goes, but if you study just basic sales copy, you know that there's a headline that grabs the user's attention. If your headline does not grab the user's attention when they first see your lead capture page, they're going to leave. It's just like you're reading a newspaper and you see a headline. If the headline grabs their attention, most likely it will get them to read further down the page. So normally headlines are, say something like, discover how to finally blank and blank. So I could say something like, discover how to finally increase your golf swing and speed with this free report. Or I could say something like, free report, because people like the word free since we're doing prospect leads. Free report shows you how to finally or to increase your golf swing and speed. So you could say something like that. You could add other psychological triggers to that if you want, but the headline is very important, so you want to focus on that. You can have a subheadline, for example, free report. This 10-page report, you could say, grab this 10-page report, which you can start reading in less than 10 minutes. So your whole goal with the subheadline is to support the headline. In this case, we're telling the reader that the page or the report is only 10 pages. So to them, they're thinking, okay, well, that's not a lot of time. It only takes me less than 10 minutes to read. I can go ahead and submit my information. So you want the headline, you want the subheadline, and you want to say something like, dear fellow golfer, and then start listing out, the problems that they face, problem question, are you losing time, or are you sick and tired of seeing your golf balls go into the sand pits, things like that. So you got a problem question, maybe a couple of those, maybe 3 or 4. And then, actually before that, you need an introduction. So put an introduction. And you only want this to be about 2 to 3 paragraphs, or even sentences for that matter. And you want to refer to some facts. Facts that might be problematic facts. Problem question, and then you can say something. If you said yes to any of these questions, read on, kind of thing. Then from that point on, you can say something like list out, introduce, saying golfer, whatever the title of the report is going to be. So introducing blank title. In this 10-page report, which you can read in less than 10 minutes, you will learn how to increase your golf swing, basically benefits. You want to at least have 5 benefits or more, because people are going to buy into the problems, and then people are going to buy into the benefits because that's what benefits them. They really don't care much about you because, if you, a lot of people tend to make the mistake of writing about themselves because most of the people are going to ask, what's in it for me? So that's what your prospects are going to ask. So right below this, you're going to put a link to your autoresponder. You can say something like, grab your free report today while it's free. And that might tell the person that, oh, it could become a report that's has a certain value to it. So I might as well grab it right now. So you have a link, and I'm going to put that in red just because it's important. So there we go. We're done with our lead capture page. You can hire anybody to, create graphics for you if you want. You can create graphics, a header, footer, whatever. But the main point of this is basically you need a lead capture page that links to your autoresponder. Now what do? Well, if you go to Aweber, you need to create your list. So create a new list by clicking this link. And the Aweber provides you with lots and lots of information on how to set up your list, how to set up your messages, and things like that. Our main goal is this. We want to set up a message, one message, and then we want to set up a web form so that we can put that web form onto this area here. How do we do that? Well, once you create your new list, you follow all the directions that Aweber shows you, then we can create our first follow-up message. In this example, I'm just going to choose one of my lists here. Let's say dog niches. And let's just pretend that has to do with golf. What I want to do is add a new follow-up message. What a follow-up message is this. When somebody comes to do your lead capture page, at the bottom it's going to say, put your name and put your email address, or put your first name and last name and your email address. We're not worried about the form right now because we can do that later. Once they fill out that information, they're going to receive an email asking them to confirm that they are the real person. Once they actually confirm that they are the real person, they're going to receive a message. Now, that message is this message here. So you can say something, download your free golfer report, whatever the title is. Then in your text, you want to say something like from your name. Dear so-and-so, you can personalize this email by saying dear and then clicking personalize and click on first name. This way, when somebody fills out the first name form, they're actually going to see their first name. It happens, my name's Steven, so it'll say Dear Steven. But you won't see it here just because it's not customized. So it says Dear so-and-so, thank you for grabbing your free report on the golfer's magic swing. Whatever your title is, some funky name. Magic Swing 5000 or something. I don't know. Anyways, once you do that, you can say download this free report at www.whatever golfer magic swing 5000.com is, slash basically wherever your free report is located, blah blah blah.html. Thanks, your name. Once you do that, you just click on save and we're done with that, right? Once you create your follow-up message, the next thing you need to do is create your web form. So now before that, I could test it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to test it. I'm just going to go to click on web form, click a create web form, and there we go. The cool thing is you can make your own. As you can see, it's very interesting. You can create your own templates. You've got corporate templates and download. Now, because I have a free report that they can download, that's convenient for me. So I'm just going to click on this. You can change colors if you want. I'm going to say, blue converts well. That's probably the easiest. So I'm going to click on load template. You can create new fields if you want, because by default it's just name and email. Let's say that when you're generating leads, you need more information. You need their name, their address, things like that. Now the person's going to wonder why you need their address. And you do need to say on your "we respect your privacy," you need to edit that, and say something like, something different. Because you got to remember, if you sell these leads, if you sell it to one person, that's fine, because you can create this website for that one person. But if you sell that lead, you can't say we're only going to use your email address one time and that's it. You have to say something different in terms of legal things. So you gotta change that just to make sure. One thing to note here is that if you try to get their name, address, and things like that, it's probably better if you go the route and you give them a free CD. That way there is a reason why you get their address. But if you're only getting name, phone number, and email, then that's good enough, then so be it. So maybe we could put phone number. Click OK. And that's a text area. Make that required. And look at that. I can move that up and down. Let's say name comes first. And let's say that phone number comes in the middle. I can resize that if I want. I can make that wider for people with long names or long email addresses, or I can make it really thin. Probably want to make it wide enough for them to put their name in. And you can test it out too if you like. Once you're done, click on OK. You can change the fonts if you want to, but I'll just leave it like it is. And I'm going to click on Save Web Form. Go to step 2. And I'm going to leave everything like it is. Click Save Web Form. And that's it. There's two choices here. It says, I will install my form. You're comfortable with HTML and you have access to edit your pages. Or my web designer will install the form. Send an email to your web designer. In this case, you are the web designer, so you are going to install the form on your own site. All you need to do is get the JavaScript code. So just highlight that. Right click, copy. And then we're going to replace this with that code. Now you can't do that on the front page on this normal view. What I like to do is just say something like 123.123. Go to the source code and just find that 123.123. Highlight that exact word, right click and paste, and that's it. You're good to go. If I exit that and I go back to my lead capture page here and I right click, open with some sort of internet browser, it can be Firefox, it can be Google Chrome, and it can be Internet Explorer. I use Google Chrome, so that's just how it is. So as you can see here, I can actually see the form. So I put my name, Stephen Luke, put the phone number, 111-111-111-111. And then I put my email, click submit. And basically all I have to do is click that link to activate it, and then I will get the email and all that information. So that's pretty much it. You've set up your lead capture page, you set up your code for your form, and you're good to go. So we see, from your name, dear Steven, thank you for grabbing your free report on Golfer's Magic Swing 5000. Remember that we made this right here? That's pretty much all you have to do. And you're good to go. You can do the same thing to the customer base or customer leads, but you just have to add on a PayPal button. Make sure your thank you page links to just the autoresponder.